I tell you what, it were an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Covered in piss.
Hello and welcome to the Red Report. As you know by now, Barnsley FC's longest running podcast, proud to be part of the Stockport Fans Network. If you hear jingling bells in the background, you need to leave us a comment because we can all hear it. Steve can't, but we can hear jingle bells. I think it's Christmas on the way. Christmas is on the radio. I mean, why not? And lots to talk about with, the regulars. It's the Avengers reassemble. Of course, I don't know if it's a snooty or a hoodie, but it is Steve Andrews in his piano room. Steve, how are you doing?
It's just an hoodie, that's all. It's no fancy.
Because of your background, half of you disappears, which could be a good thing.
I put this on just because I've had some comments I seem to be getting these days. It's a stab vest as well, so I thought I'd better put that on just in case.
And the man who is in the know, immune to any sort of criticism, and of course, Barnsley's writer for the football. Is it the Football League World, they call it?
It is. Yes.
It is. It is, of course, Ian Hope. Ian, how was the weather over the other side of the Pennines? Was it as good today as it was here? Because it was like a beautiful late summer day today.
Well, Monday, I think we needed to build an ark because it did nothing but rain all day. And then Tuesday, Wednesday's been lovely. It's been really nice. So, can't complain.
No, we can't complain about the weather. But I think there's plenty to say about Barnsley's last two performances. So let's go back to Saturday. Under the lights, on Sky, the ideal peak time of, was it an 8 o'clock of 7:45 kickoff on a Saturday evening. It finished Barnsley 1, Stockport 1. Now, beginning of season, you might have said, Stockport, but, decent squad. They were there or thereabouts, doing really, really well. Made a good start to the season. Let's start first with the lineup, because I think the lineup will be one of the key things we talk about this evening. So Slonina at goal, back three of the Juvigny, Roberts and Earl. 5 across the middle with Cotter and O'Keefe wide. In the middle, Phillips, Connell and Craig. And up front, Stephen Humphreys and Davis Keller. Done. When I saw that lineup, let's start with you, Ian, I thought, you know what? Humphreys, due a start. Davis Keller done. I think he just needs to be playing regularly because we know he's a decent player. Looking in the midfield, and for, you know what, that's probably before kickoff, this is probably our stronger side, and I could see us get us something here. What happened?
Well, we played great for 5 minutes. Can we forget the other 85 where we didn't know how to control the game at home 1-0 up and in the ascendancy? I felt we just got deeper and deeper. They pressed us really well. They were a decent side. But we had that game potentially by scruff at neck after the first 5 or 10 minutes, and we could have really stamped our authority on it. But home form's poor. We just seem to. We'll talk about it, but there's no style, there's no identity with our play at the minute, is there? We don't know. If you sent some message, was it Huddersfield fan or someone wanted to ask some questions, and it was like, what formation? How are you going to set up? What style of play do you play? Who knows? Toss a coin. It was really disappointing in the end. Could have probably argued that was a penalty near the end for us, but a point was probably all we deserved in the end. It was just really flat, like I say, built up for a Saturday evening, decent crowd, bit of an atmosphere at times, and it just all went rapidly downhill after about 10 minutes.
It's weird, isn't it? Because obviously, you've got everything sort of. You've got the telly. You've got the fact it was a decent crowd. I think what the club did in regards to tickets, all those that went to that bit of a disappointment, to put it lightly, at Old Trafford, free tickets. Obviously, the season ticket holders, many of them, and everything was just set up to do really good, and then it just don't happen. What did we learn from that, Steve? And my biggest thing is still, you've got a long time, don't we? My biggest thing is, I'm still worried about, there's a lot of things, but one of the things is, I think if you look at those three in defence, the Juvigny, Roberts and Earl, the lack of pace, I find frightening. Any fast forward, if they can get behind, there's a chance there, isn't there? But what else did we learn, or what else did we see that we didn't really like?
Well, let's be
Off you
honest.
go.
We haven't learned hope for the last 12 months. We know Roberts has no pace, and let's be honest, he's been poor at last few games, Roberts. But I thought he definitely picked up on Tuesday and had a better game, which is fair enough. Earl and Dejivny, no, they're not particularly quick, but you've got. I think the one we haven't learned it because we've known it now, as I said, for quite a while. Midfield is just not ticking at all. And you can say what you want about Humphreys, Cosgrove and Watters. And Watters is coming in for some bloody dogs comments. And do you know what? Them comments ought to be fired at like Sir Connell at minute. Connell can't pass to save his life. I don't know what's up with him. Phillips has had his usual in and out. Tuesday night were one of his better performances. And I just don't see what Clark is doing with them in training. He doesn't know his best 11. That's obvious. He doesn't know what to do with Keeler Dunn. He plays him up front. He plays him wide. He plays him behind striker. I think there's 2 or 3 players there that he actually doesn't know the best position. Have we learnt anything? Well, we've learnt that Clark can talk a good game, but at the minute he's losing quite a few fans because of, again, no identity, no style, and no consistency. The only consistent part of the team is the keeper and the back 4 or 5. But the others is trying to move around, and I just don't think he knows what he's doing to get goals. And midfield are creating nothing.
It's. I mean, largely agree with what you say. I like the comment about Phillips having a good match on Tuesday because obviously he wasn't selected because of the toe injury.
Well spotted, Carlo. Love. I wondered because there's a lot of people going to go, "Oh, Phillips didn't play on Tuesday. What's he talking about?"
You just mentioned about Slodina, about the goalkeeper, but he came in for some criticism, Ian, from Clark, saying that we don't want to be a team that's like he was very slow, sort of like distributing the ball and everything. It's a fine line, isn't it? Because you can ask more of your players in an interview, but if you're bordering on criticizing, I go back to a couple of seasons ago where players they were there, they played football, but I wouldn't say they gave 100%. It started, that disconnect started, and that only ends in one way. So it's a fine line, isn't it, between getting more and criticizing players, because that can be a dangerous game so early in the season, surely.
Absolutely. I think on the plus side, I like his honesty. I mean, we complained that Collins was dull last season in his press conferences. I like the fact that he does, like he was asked by Adam Oxley on Tuesday night about, when he come out and said, I don't want my best 11 and my best formations. And he says, well, are you changing it too much? But he says, well, I've got to change it to get some out of the game. And whereas we criticise Collins for not changing anything, not having a plan B. So I like the fact that he's prepared to make some changes. And the subs paid off this time on Tuesday. But like you say, it's a very fine line when I think he's bordering on already. If he's not careful, he always comments about the players. And 1 minute he's calling them flaky. And when we're giving away 2-goal leads 2 weeks running, and then he comes out and says, like what he said on Tuesday night, I expected better quality, and he was going on about like the players again. You criticise the players too much, and they're going to down tools, and you'll lose them. I don't think we're at that stage yet. I think they are still playing for him, but it's a very dangerous game, bordering on like fans want a bit of honesty and want him to come out and sort of answer these questions and don't be dead dull and boring. But the fact that he calls the players out quite, and don't get me wrong, sometimes the players do need calling out. Steve's right, Earl can't pass to a red shirt to save his life. Slonina was a bit slow, and the Pontien were getting on his back on Tuesday night because he was just delaying with the ball. But I think Clark's going to have to be a bit careful about how he answers these questions because he could go a bit wrong, couldn't he, if he doesn't start getting the results.
Yeah. What about his best 11 though? Because when you look, and I know we're League One, right? So don't start shooting or stabbing aimed at Steve. He's got the vest on. When you look at on Premier League level, Championship level, most teams now, they know their best 11. And they might make a change in formation or in style of play to try and counter whatever the opponent is bringing. But we're going from 4-4-2 to 3-5-2 from 4-3-3. How are they going to gel and how are we going to get consistency when he has to change it halfway? Shouldn't that homework be done on the training pitch so he knows which is best 11? We're in October now. Surely, Steve, by now, maybe besides Stephen Humphries, who arrived later, wasn't fully match fit, Davis Killadon, don't want to make excuse for him. We know his partner's just had a baby, so he had a couple of days off, so he might have not been fully match fit. Fair enough. But all the other ones, he should know at least the formation we're playing, surely. And then on Tuesday, he was like, was it 4 centre-backs or whatever that we played? Surely by now he should know at least his best 11, and then from there he can work out a system that would suit him. Or am I asking too much?
No, you're not asking too much. He should know. He should know at least his first 8, 7 or 8 now, quite easily. And let's be honest, goalkeeper picks himself. There's some ricks in him, but he's a young kid, and he's made some good saves, and he's saved us a few times. But people will still slag him off, so it's just the nature. Defensively, Cotter's been one of our better performers. So Cotter's, and he's in the right position. Your centre halves, I would have liked to see a bit more cover. I'd have liked to see Lapata stay instead of going out on loan, just to sort of keep them on the toes. What I don't understand is he's got a young left back that comes with loads of plaudits from last season in Scotland. He's a natural left-sided player, and yet we're playing O'Keefe at left back, who's not, and he's not particularly very good, to be honest. So that's one thing that I have to question. If Gent's not ready, so why have we not got another left back? Why did we not go for another left back? There's plenty of free agents about, so bring a left back in. Midfield wise, we've got a really good midfield on paper, but they're just not gelling together. I mean, I saw some people criticising Craig from Tuesday night. Craig won at better players.
I agree.
He really was. And people are slagging him uphill and down Dale. I just don't know what they're watching. Get on Connell's back. Get on Phillips's back when you're playing. But, oh, no, he can't touch Phillips. It's as though he's a protected species. But these players are not performing, and they're not bringing it. They're not earning the crust. And they need calling out. And if it's a kick-up arse they need, fair enough. And hopefully, like Ian says, you don't want to push them too much. But how much rope do you give them before you say, right, you dropped? Let's get somebody in who actually wants to play for shirt. Cosgrove runs about, bit of a bull in a china shop. I look at Humphries. I think when Humphries has come on, he's looked energetic. He looks a proper, with all them tattoos. I love it. Absolutely love it. And for me, he should be starting because he's got that confidence. So he should be actually first name on sheet. Keeler Dunn, as I said, that's definitely a question mark because he just doesn't know where to play him.
Yeah. And that makes it awkward for the lad as well, I suppose.
Of course it does.
So the formation Tuesday night, so 3-5-2 against Stockport, a 2-2 draw against Wycombe with a 4-4-1-1 formation. So the back four, the Javinier, Roberts, Pines and Earl. Midfield was Cotter, Craig, Connell and Kieran Lofthouse. And then Davis Keeler Dunn just behind Sam Cosgrove. Kieran Lofthouse, I personally think a bit unlucky because when I've seen him play, he's one of them that I just feel he needs to have a couple of matches, 90 minutes to proper get into a match. So, he got the start. He was later substituted for Jallo, and I believe. 4-4-1-1 with Sam Cosgrove being the target man. Cosgrove, very unlucky last season, very much in the shadow of Devante Cole. Remember him? Then was called upon and showed what he could do in the 2 matches against Bolton, and everybody thought, you know what, be all right next season. We've got Sam Cosgrove. reverted back to type. Is that fair to say? He when you look at him, and I suppose from a defence point of view, you think, oh, we're in for a bit of a battle here. But it's the long balls that get headed and nobody picks it up. A bit ineffective. Would that be honest to say, Ian?
Yeah, Cosgrove has reverted back to type after them 2 games against Bolton, but part of me thinks the strikers are not getting any service either.
Not at all. Not at all.
Although Humphreys, when you do put a decent ball in, he's the man you want on the end of it. He does, like Steve said, I think he just needs to get, because he's not had a pre-season, he's not played properly for a bit. Give him another week or two, and he'll be like, he's got to be starting. He looks like he's going to terrorise a few defences in this league. He puts the ball away. Lofthouse didn't do anything, a bit disappointing, because when he's come on late in games, he's looked all right, but then it just didn't work for him the other night. I thought Roberts against Stockport and Wycombe probably had his best 2 games of the season. But then, so frustrated. I mean, like Steve said, Cotter's been one of the best players, and he gets in some great positions, but his crossing's terrible, and he's got to work on that. 1 cross out of 12 was successful in that first half, when we're getting some really good positions. And this is where your strikers then are feeding on scraps, because Cotter, time and time again, got in some really good positions, advanced positions, looks up, it just goes straight to a defender, and they clear it. So I feel for the strikers a bit, but it was, again, we started quite well against Wycombe, but then it went dire. I mean, it was a dreadful first half on both sides, wasn't it? And it got a little bit better in the second half, a bit more urgency with the substitutes. But it got a little bit desperate, and shouldn't really be desperate against Wycombe on a Tuesday night at home, should it really?
When have we suddenly turned into a long ball team, though? You've got likes of Keeler Dunn that you're wanting to feed with a ball, and he wants ball at his feet.
Yeah.
And defenders are getting hold at ball. Well, everybody were getting hold at ball, and it was as though it were red hot. Get rid of it quick. I like watching kids on a Sunday morning. Big diagonals. Yeah, when diagonals come off, they look amazing. We're not good enough to play Hollywood balls every single time. And that's what Connell, Phillips, they're looking at. That's what Divjivny's looking at. It's what Roberts were looking at. They're looking for Hollywood ball. And they're knocking it straight out into touch. And you just think, what am I watching here?
Yeah, I think the problem is they want to play out from the back, and we haven't got the players to do it. So Earl consistently gave the ball to a Wycombe player, and he's done it in many games this season where he gives it to the opposition in dangerous positions. He's not the only one at the back that does that, but then you give it to midfield, and the midfield has been quite ineffective. You're right in saying about Connell. He's industrious, he runs about, etc. But there's nobody who can play that killer ball. And you've got Keeler Dunn who could do something with it. You've got probably Humphreys who could do something with it. Even Cosgrove could hold it up, and when he can, he played those games against Bolton, proved it, where he can get the ball back to goal and he brings people into play. But there's just no service from the defence or the midfield to them front players. They must be so frustrated. They're feeding off scraps.
Given the players we have there, because we keep saying that on paper, the midfield, so if you look at like a Connell, you look at Craig, if you want somebody in, I don't know, in that number 10 role, like it, they're there, aren't they? How do you change that then? What formation do you play to try and get the best out of every 11 players or 10 players?
At home, I've seen quite a lot of people say, at home, do you need 2 holding midfielders in Craig and Connell? And the other option you've got is Russell, who's another holding midfielder. So we've only got Keeler Dunn and Adam Phillips, really, who are attacking midfielders, so to speak.
Whoa. Last couple of games, Benson's come on, and Benson's looked quite tidy going forward.
Maybe it's time to drop
throw.
No, I agree with you. I think Benson was one of the 3 subs who made a difference the other night. And I think, why shouldn't you give him 90 minutes? And maybe does Craig drop to the bench? I don't know, because he's not going to drop Connell, he's captain. It's unlikely he's going to drop him. So maybe it is time to do that and give Benson 90 minutes. Because, I mean, it's different away from home. Do you play 2 holding midfielders? But at Oakwell, do you need all them defenders and 2 holding midfielders when you should be taking the initiative at home?
Especially when they can't defend anyway, between 6 on them.
Yeah, Donovan Pines came back into the side after completing that sort of concussion protocol. A bit of a cult hero when he first came in, and then obviously he was out with a lengthy injury and the rehab and everything else. Have we made our mind up yet about Donovan Pines? Because I know everybody shouts USA, USA, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. But on a footballing opinion, what are we making of Donovan Pines so far? Steve?
All right, he's been out. We're out for a couple of games, missed a couple of games. He's come back in. I thought Tuesday night he was. I'm not saying he were trying to get booked, but some of them tackles that he put in, he would have had to set off on Monday afternoon to get there in time because he were just that far behind play. He hit a couple of their players, and it could have been a yellow card quite easily. I don't think he's convinced everybody. Yeah, the cult hero part when he first came, yeah, why not? We all love somebody to get behind, and he's shown his passion.
And he scored a couple of goals, didn't he? That always helps.
Yeah, he scored goals.
Not a great defender, but you get a couple of goals.
But that's the thing. He's not. I don't think he is a great defender. He's definitely in the, I don't know, Mvoto sort of camp, as in he'll get his legs and his body and his head and his arm in way and try and stop ball, and he'll get crowd going. But again, there always seems to be some like a little bit of a mistake in him, or he doesn't look confident on ball. But maybe that will come again as he gets back into playing. Yeah. But let's face it, I know it's still early days, but we shouldn't be taking these risks. We need to have a steady and a consistent first 11. Let them get used to it. And then it should only be just tinkering with odd one or odd two players and odd little bit of style. But at minute, it's just throw it in at, pick a card out, what we're doing this week, Gaffer. Oh, hold on, Ace of Spades, we're doing that formation this week. And it just seems as though there's no cohesion behind any of them.
Similar, I suppose, to Donovan Pines, Ian. Fabio Giallo's back from injury. He made an appearance.
Is that it? Are you leaving it there?
I'm just trying to, because he's a young man and he clearly has plenty of promise. It's difficult, isn't it, in a team that's not really performing to the best. You see flashes of brilliance and he'll go past two and then lose it against the third. I mean, that's clearly, does his confidence no good? Fans, do you applaud the first two or do you boo that last one? Listen, I don't know. But it's difficult. If we were firing on all cylinders, it'd be a lot easier for him, and he'd be learning of players around him. But coming on as a substitute, constantly having different players around him, is that the best education for him at the moment? Bit performances here and there? Or can you see him? We've got two matches in a row, Saturday, Tuesday, both away at Huddersfield. Do you look at maybe that cup game and say that could be a Fabio Giallo game because it's the Bristol Street Trophy? We're not doing very well in it anyway, so give him a run and let's get 90 minutes under his belt.
Yeah, I would. I'd probably have him on the bench on Saturday and then play him midweek. He's one of them, isn't he, that, again, it can't be easy for him coming in at bit parts and when you're chasing a game as well, and Crowder a bit probably on the backs and stuff. I thought he did all right when he came off on pitch Tuesday night, but I just feel with this massive build-up.
Does he look overweight to you? Does he look overweight to you?
He did look chunky. He did
carrying a bit more weight.
He's going to the gym a lot, doesn't he? And I don't know if it's
whether he's just filling out. He's getting older now. I say older, but you know what I mean. He's developing. I think he's come with such a reputation for scoring for fun in the under 23s or whatever he's in. And then when you hear about Italian Serie A clubs interested, everybody thinks, oh, this wonder kid. But we're only seeing bits of him, and it's probably unfair to kind of then expect him to come on and score two or something around the keeper or something. He's not, so I feel a little bit for him. And then with these shoulder injuries he keeps having, whether that's kind of, he's another one that probably just needs to be playing regular. But can we afford to play him week in, week out at the minute?
No, he's not ready. I don't think he's ready for it. He proves that, let's face it, he picks a yellow card up for kicking ball off cone when they were going to take a throw in. That's just immaturity. And that's something that we haven't, let's face it, we haven't got time for that.
No.
Bad enough as it is, we are having to put up with that.
No, he should get 90 minutes midweek. I think that's easy in that way.
Let's look ahead of that then. So we've got Huddersfield in the league Saturday, Bristol Street Motors Trophy thing on Tuesday. Huddersfield not firing on many cylinders at the moment. In their last 6 results, they lost 2-1 against Doncaster. They won Bolton 4-0 when Bolton was still shit, but they've picked up since. Northampton lost 3-1.
Language, Mr. Van der Voort. There's no swearing.
2-1 the loss against Reading, and they lost 1-0 against Birmingham. Is it an advantage or disadvantage to play the same team in 3 days at the same venue? Is that something? Because if we go on Saturday, so they are not very high in confidence. My worry is always teams that are not doing really well seem to start hitting their form when they've played us. Is it? Let's start with you. They're playing twice in 3 days. If you get a decent result on Saturday, you set yourself up, don't you, to try it because you obviously found an opening. Michael Duff, Steve's old love, Herbie Kane, although he's not really playing for them much, and I don't know if he'll be involved on Saturday.
He's not been involved in all for the last 12 months, let's face it.
Huddersfield played 9, 12 points. Barnsley played 9, 15. I know it's horrible. I've just got this idea. Well, you know what's going to happen then, don't you? If they win, then suddenly the level wheels on there. There might be literally 7 places in between us now, but that's how close it is to the table. It's a Yorkshire derby. You know, it is away. There could be a bit of a saving grace because, you know, our away form hasn't been too bad. What do you make of Huddersfield, and how can Barnsley get the best out of themselves, really, on Saturday? What do they need to do? I know they score goals and the clean sheet, but what players can you see need to play a key role in getting 3 points on the road on Saturday?
Well, I think you're right. I think we're best playing away. I think whether there is that extra motivation because of Duff, I really don't know, because it's not like he's only just recently left. He's been gone a bit now. They've lost 4 on the bounce. I just think it's got score draw written all over it because we're always good for both teams to score anyway. I don't know about the playing them twice in several days because I just think there'll be 2 totally different teams out in midweek. I just hope we go there. We have got goals in us. I just hope that we go there and have a go and sort of jump on their weakness at the minute, the fact that they're conceding goals. I think we should have a go with it because they're not in any form at all either themselves, are they? So, but I can see it being a score draw myself.
Steve, Yorkshire derby, what Barnsley players need to be on top of their game for Barnsley to get 3 points on the road on Saturday?
All of them. What a silly question. All of them need to be up for it. It's a local derby. It's a Yorkshire derby.
Now, okay, all up for it. But, I mean, they're probably up for it. But have we got some players that have been maybe performing at 80% that we need to be, that can make that difference?
Now then, we've got some players that's not even performing at 20%. You mind 80%. It's them that want to get the finger out.
You mentioned Connell earlier, for instance. I mean,
it's an ideal game for Connell. Ideal game for him to get out of that midfield and show what he can do. He's got to want to do it, but then again, he's got to be in right position to do it. So Clark's got to play him in right position. And he seems to be another one. He plays. Sometimes he's pushing him out to the left. He's holding him back. He must not know what he's doing himself. But no, for game on Saturday, it's a local derby. They should be able to get up for that. They shouldn't need much motivation. And they've got to put a shift in. And I think if they put a shift in, they could end up coming away with something. Like you said, Huddersfield's not playing very well at the minute. I think the fact that Duff's managing them will have very little effect, to be quite honest, because like Ian says, he's been gone now. It's water under the bridge sort of thing. But they've got to do it because fans want a performance. Fans have been fantastic. Man United, they were all there, you know, Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Who wants to watch football at Saturday night at 8 o'clock? Nobody does, but they were there. And, you know, fans deserve a performance. And I think Saturday is their ideal opportunity. Tuesday, I couldn't care less about Tuesday. Nobody cares. Put kids out. Let's let kids have a run. Let Jallo have a run. Don't matter. Saturday is what matters.
So let's finish this episode then the way we started. We talked about
I'm in a
formations
piss.
and changes. that's true. We talked about formations. Between you then, who is going to beat Huddersfield? 11. We said Slovenian goal is a no-brainer. From there then, what formation are we going? Between your two, you should be able to manage this. So what formation, what players, and then finish with the results, please. So who's back three, back four? What we're doing?
It's going to be it's going to be a back three. I don't think he's going to change anything that, and it's going to be same back three. It's going to be Dejivny. I think it'll be Roberts, and I think it'll be Earl.
Yeah, so no room for Pine.
No, he's on bench.
Right. Okay. I take a Cotter down one side because he is
first name.
Left side.
I've said it. Left for me, would be a naturally left-footed left defender, which would be Gent.
Yeah, I'd like to see Gent come in. I really would, because he's got this. He's known for bombing on and really having a go. And I know he's only shown it in glimpses, but that's what we need. We need like that. What Cadden used to do for us down that left. I think Gent can do it, but I don't know. I just can't see him. I just can't see there being much difference, to be honest, for the last couple of games. No. Would he stick O'Keefe out there or Lofthouse again? Because Phillips isn't going to play; he's injured.
So you got Craig and Connell in the middle, then?
No, Craig on his own as an holding midfielder. We don't need two away. When we're playing at home or playing away, you don't need two holding midfielders. Dejivny is pushing forward enough as it is. So you could quite easily play Craig in front of that back three. Yeah. And then Connell one side. And for me, Benson. I'd let them two sort of be more of a central midfield mini diamond, if you want. And then, for me, Humphreys and Keeler done up front. Let him play up front. Don't be pulling him back and pulling him wide. Let him play up front and actually play off Humphreys.
Yeah, I agree.
How's it going to finish, boys?
2-2.
Referee will blow his whistle and everybody will walk off.
2-2, says Ian, the man who know what I meant. Who's the first Barnsley goal scorer?
Humphreys.
Good shout, that.
I'm going for a 1-1 with Keeler done first on the score sheet for Barnsley. Steve, Devante Cole no longer plays for us, so you can't.
So I'm in 3-1 then.
No, you can't.
2-1.
2-1.
I'm not telling you.
No. 2-1 is Huddersfield, isn't it? They're at home.
No, 2-1's us. 2-1 to us. I think we have. I'm pinning my hat on. I get slagged off and shouted down all over the place anyway.
And you love it.
I do love it. Just for idiots, isn't it? 2-1, and come on, Connell, give us something to cheer about. Connell for me. Big.
He was unlucky the other night with that volley.
He was very unlucky. Very unlucky. Bit of a deflection, otherwise it were in.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. At least a point for the Reds at the away at Huddersfield on Saturday. But if you listen to the funny one, Barnsley going away with all three. We will be back next week talking about 2 matches against Huddersfield. That'll be boring. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Thank you to Ian. Thank you to Steve. And on behalf of us, enjoy. If you're going on Saturday and you're in the cow shed, Moo Reds.
Moo Reds.